Hello, everyone from Chelsea Fan TV. Welcome to another episode of the CFTV preview show with myself and Kev. Good to see you, mate. How you doing?
All good, all good. Literally, it's been a good week. Just taking it all in from the Arsenal game on Saturday. What a brilliant performance it was to come away with a point. Okay, a bit devastating in the fashion that we lost the points, but in the same sense, before the game, I think all of us would have took a draw. So, feeling a lot more positive going into this Brentford game tomorrow morning. Let's hopefully we go away. Well, there's no ifs or buts. We've got to take the 3 points against Brentford. So, feeling positive.
Yeah, I mean, did you feel like that straight after the game, though? Because, I mean, generally speaking, when I was interviewing people on the fan cams outside Stamford Bridge, people were pretty positive, if I'm being honest with you. But I did have a couple of people who was like, this is not good enough. This is Sunday League defending, being 2-0 up. We
Yeah.
bottled it. Let's be honest. We bottled it. It is
Mm,
what it is. I mean, the where I stand is I think that it steps in the right direction, even if we didn't get the 3 points. I didn't expect us to get a point. I expected us to lose. And I think you said that we'd probably lose or get a draw on the last preview. So, it shows that we're able to compete, which is something we couldn't do last year. So, I hear a lot of Chelsea fans saying it's not good enough. So we spent all this money. I mean, if you didn't watch last season, then this is 10 times better.
yeah, most definitely. It's 10 times better. I'll probably say 50 times better. Last season, we didn't have no patterns of play. We didn't look dangerous. We could see little patterns of play formulated throughout the game. Enzo was getting on the ball, driving forward. Gallagher was pressing. Uh, just everything in general. The whole lot of it. Cucurella had a brilliant game as well. So all the negative I can come out with the game is that we went 2-0 up and lost the points. That's the only negative. Apart from that, the performance from the team was spot on. We had a game plan to shut them out. We had a game plan to counter attack them. Everything across the board that we've done well with. So if anyone's feeling negative after that, yeah, okay, we lost the points. But what I asked the question to one of my friends is, if we went 2-0 down and we brought it back to 2-2, would it have still been negative? No, it wouldn't have. If we would brought it back, if the brought it back to be a draw. So what you're going to think is a draw is a brilliant result, regardless of the situation. We went behind. Shit happens, and I think if Sanchez had never had that mistake, would have been talking about 3 points and a great win. But it's unfortunate. Things happen. Let's move forward. Let's just carry on the momentum. For me, in my head, I'll be telling the lads that it's a 3 points and let's carry on the momentum into the next game because we certainly did deserve the win.
That's the thing, though. Like, when we talk about Robert Sanchez, like, he's had some cracking games for us, mate. Like, I remember, like, he was the best, he got the best save of last month when he made the save against Aston Villa. He made a couple of world-class saves in that game. And, to be fair, whenever he's made mistakes in the past, he usually makes up for them with a good save. So it's not like his shot stopping is the issue, which I
Yeah.
would have probably said more so with Kepa. And also, he is able to actually catch crosses, take control of the inside the box when there's a corner, things like that. So, like, immediately I'm looking at Sanchez and I'm saying, well, that's an upgrade on Kepa. But one thing
Mm.
Kepa didn't do many of is make, glaring mistakes that would then put us under pressure. He wouldn't necessarily have the best distribution, but he wouldn't give the ball away like what Sanchez did against Arsenal. Um, and obviously, you look at the goal that Declan Rice scored, you say, fair play, that was an unbelievable goal, but it's half a chance. And at the top level, all you need is half a chance. So, what I would say to you, Kev, I would say, well, first of all, what did you think about Sanchez when we brought him in? And how has your opinion changed since you've seen him in a Chelsea shirt?
To be truthfully honest, I didn't really want him in the first place. I thought we would have probably gone for someone of a higher caliber. There's better keepers knocking around at the moment in the Prem, and there's better abroad. Diogo Costa in Porto, especially as a keeper that I would have liked to have signed. It probably would have cost a bit more than £25 million, but you're
Mm.
getting a player. 23 years old is going to be probably the keeper for your next 10 years. So, I wasn't too keen on the transfer. I think at the back end of last season for Brighton, he never hardly played. De Zerbi clearly didn't favour him, and he was dropped for most of the season. So, we probably got Brighton second choice keeper, and for us, we need to be going for first rate players. Obviously, in answer to your question, what do I feel like his performance have been this season? I could probably give him a 7 out of 10. I think other than the Brighton game where he was totally he was shocking in that game, and the couple of mistakes we've seen with his distribution, I think he's been pretty good. Upgrade to Kepa, still early days. I don't think we could go as far as that yet, but he's got to learn. He's got to learn quickly. This is Chelsea Football Club. You can't be making the same mistakes week in, week out in regards to passing the ball out to players, opposing players, and then they're having chances on goal. I think at Brighton, I think Fatty had a brilliant chance through the same thing once again. It's easy pass to the right or left. I think it was Reece James was clearly on. All you had to do is pass the ball to the right. Wanted to take the risk and pass it to Enzo, and we conceded the goal. He's got to learn fast. I think in the last 20 minutes or so, just hoof it long. We've got Jackson, we've got players up there can get on the ball. Just hoof it long and let us push up on the halfway line. Don't play us into trouble when we're 2-0 or even 0. He's got to learn quickly.
But that's got something to do with the manager as well, right? Because the manager's saying, "Well, I want you to play it short." That's the way Pochettino likes to play, out from the back.
It's common sense. You got to learn to mix it up. As a goalkeeper, you got to learn to mix it up. Okay, we play it short when it's not a risk, but when Arsenal have got us boxed in and they're pressing the height of the pitch, it's a risk, and it's a risk that you can't take when you're 2-0 up. That puts Arsenal back in the game. So for me personally, I would have either paid it to James or hoofed it long, either of them. But he's got to learn. He got to learn from your mistakes. He's got to learn quickly.
Well, if you are going to play out from the back as well, use your strong foot, and he was doing it with his weak foot as well, his left foot. So maybe that's something else to look out for if you are going to take those risks. But I mean, to be honest with you, mate, I still think the guy's got really good distribution. I just think that his decision making is a little bit sus. Like, mate, I've never seen a goalkeeper except for Edison be able to kick the ball into Sterling when he's a striker. And I keep referring back to the opening game of the season when it was Sterling versus Van Dijk. And Sterling was winning those aerial duels because the ball, it wasn't a loopy goal kick. It was like right into his chest. I've never, ever seen a goalkeeper at Chelsea be able to do that. You have to have some seriously good technique, seriously skilled distribution to be able to do that.
Was he about when Pastor was abound?
No. But I'm not talking about saves, Kev. I'm talking about
kicking. Pastor Check's distribution was brilliant.
Yeah. Well, I think that we're having two different conversations. I mean, I'm talking about with Sanchez. I'm basically saying that he does make a few mistakes, but when he gets the pass, it's an unbelievable pass. I never saw that with Kepa. Kepa was always, meh, and people say he had a great season last year. It was because Chelsea were crap. Jordan Pickford was Sunderland's best player, but guess what? They got relegated. He's gone to Everton. He's doing okay again, but they're a relegation team. It doesn't really mean anything. So really, if you want to see a goalkeeper level up, you have to be playing for a better team. I don't really know the details of why Sanchez got dropped with Brighton. I would presume it has something to do with the decision making that he makes, but I think his distribution is unbelievable, mate. I think it's really, really good. I just think sometimes the communication and the awareness of where players are on the pitch is where he struggles. I don't think that he's any worse than a player like Allison or Edison in terms of actually having the skill to be able to play a ball out. I think you can just see it naturally with some players. And that's not to say that he's better at distribution than them. Obviously, he does make mistakes, but his accuracy when he wants to get the ball somewhere and he has the time, I think it's world class. I really do. I've said that from the beginning. I'm going to keep saying it. I know he made a silly mistake, but for me, you can't drop him. I think the whole concept of having a number one goalkeeper is that he remains your number one unless it's seriously bad. And that's where Arsenal have gone wrong, mate. David Raya made mistakes as well. He just bailed himself out. And with the Mudryk goal, I mean, that's down to the goalkeeper's positioning as well. I mean, you would never think that Mudryk should be able to score from that position, but he did. And ultimately, it wasn't the defender's fault. It was the goalkeeper's fault. and both goalkeepers had a bit of a tough game. Let's be honest.
Yeah. David Raya hit the nail on the head. He had a bit of a shaky game as well. But with the goalkeepers, it's difficult. It swings and roundabouts. What would you prefer? A keeper with good distribution is a good shot stopper, or a keeper which has got less distribution or a bit of a more aerial threat? You can't have it all with a goalkeeper. And I think with
What?
Sanchez.
Sorry, Kit, I don't know what that means.
So what would you rather have, a keeper who's got better aerial ability and is a better shot stopper, or a keeper who's got better distribution?
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you can't have a keeper with everything. Not many keepers have got all attributes, if that's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
So
But
I
I'd
think
take
with
a keeper
Sanchez,
who can save the ball, Kev. That's what I would
yeah,
take.
with Sanchez, he's got his distribution is okay, and like you said, he's a tall keeper, and he comes out and collects the ball, and he makes the defense a lot more calmer than the Kappa who comes out and flaps at you. So you can't have it all. For me personally, you're right. I wouldn't drop him. There has been talk on the social medias of would you have him or that Petrovic?
Petrovic. Yeah.
Petrovic, yeah, him or Petrovic. Go with Sanchez. Just keep him. Like I said, his time's running out. He's got to learn quickly. Can't keep making mistakes and the manager starting you. So he's running out of time in that sense. Maybe give him another 3, 4 more games, see if he gets some. But to drop him now would be very harsh.
Yeah, it's an interesting one. I mean, let's look at Brentford, mate. I mean, obviously that's the game that's coming up on Saturday tomorrow. And this video is going to be released later on today in the evening. I mean, they've always been a pretty solid Premier League side, Brentford, and they've had an interesting start this season. They've won a decent amount of games. They've drawn a decent amount of games, and when they have lost, it's been relatively close. They don't lose by more than one goal. So what that tells me is that this is a team that really is going to be neck and neck. And to be honest with you, mate, I think there's only one goal in it. I can't see this being a high scoring game. They've got such a good structure. I'm a big fan of Thomas Frank, their manager. And I think as well, Brentford, they don't get enough praise for what they're able to do up the top of the pitch, especially considering obviously Tony's not available. He's going to get sold in January because of this whole gambling issue. I mean, where do you stand on this Brentford game? Are you confident? I know that we can take a lot of positives after the Arsenal game, but we still can't underestimate Brentford.
I think I watched the game a couple of weeks ago against Everton when they lost. Didn't look too good at the back, especially on set plays. So I think that's an area where we could exploit. Hit the nail on the head. Tony not there. That's the main man. He's basically carried the team for the last 3 seasons. So with him being out, they're not as much of a threat going forward. Still got Mburo and have still got Wissa on the wings. Very, very direct, can get in behind you. But for me personally, we are massive favourites. I am very confident that we can go and get the win tomorrow. For me personally, if we play the same team as against Arsenal, I think we've got a good chance of doing some damage. Yes, they are very organised. Thomas Frank likes to set them up with a low block, and they don't like to concede many shots on target. They're very, very disciplined defensively. But for me, I think if we go and play our football, keep the ball, work their flanks. They've also got their main left back out, what's his name, Rico Emery. He's out for the season as well. So I'm sure a Mudryk or whoever's playing down that left-hand side, down the right-hand side, so we can exploit it. We'll get a lot of joy. So I'm feeling confident. I think we can win this game, and convincingly as well.
Mate, I mean, I'm looking at their results as well, the ones that they've had this season. There's only 2 games they haven't scored in so far this season in all competitions. They didn't score against Newcastle. They lost that game 1-0, and they didn't score against Arsenal in the EFL Cup third round. They lost that game 1-0. So again, when we talk about goal scoring, I know that they haven't got Ivan Toney, but I am seeing a serious threat from Brentford to be able to score goals. And we talk about structure, defensive structure, low block. These guys play free-flowing attacking football as well. Lots of long balls, great counter-attacking side.
Very
They're
direct.
able to go to big teams and dominate. I remember when they beat us 4-1. I don't think it was last season, it was the year before. They beat us 4-1 when they had Christian Eriksen in the side. And, we were nothing special at that time, but we were still a decent team. They went to Man City last year and they beat them away from home. Yeah, I think that we really, really need to get up for this game. Now, I just want to be
Yeah.
very, very clear. I am not predicting a loss. I'm absolutely not predicting a loss. I would predict a win. I think we'll win 1-0.
Yeah.
For me, the Arsenal game has given us enough of a lift to still keep our feet on the ground. I think that's exactly what you want, right? We're
Yeah.
not getting too many results too early. We've had some good ones. We've had some bad ones. And it's just a slow, steady climb, right? And I think Brentford's a great team to take that next step, just to give us the momentum to then go into the next few games. Because let's be honest, none of the games are easy. We've got Blackburn in the Cup. Then we've got Spurs, who are top of the league, City at home, Newcastle away. So I think we just need to start this run how we look to continue. We said this at the beginning. We thought we had the easy run of fixtures, except for Liverpool, and we bottled it, Kev. It is what it is. We bottled it.
Yeah.
I do believe that I can make excuses for the team. I know people say that injuries don't mean anything. The manager's still got to find the solution. The manager doesn't know half of the team, and half of the team don't know the players that they're playing with, because they've only just got here. So what have we seen so far? We've seen Malo Gusto come in. I think he's been fantastic since he's been playing for us. One of the man of the match, one of the best players on the pitch against Arsenal. I think Cucurella in a back four as a left back, not as a wing back or a centre back in a back three. I think that maybe we actually have some value there. I mean, it seems crazy to say it, Kev, but Cucurella was unbelievable against Arsenal. And, it's not that he does anything special, but he just does the job.
Does the basics right. I think he was playing. Was it Saka playing on that side? Saka nearly didn't even get him. Saka got man of the match in that game, and it absolutely baffled me because apart from his cross for their second goal, we've never done anything. All credit to Cucurella for bringing it back, because me personally, I put my hands up. I had him down as one of the players I'd like to see go. And I think when Newcastle coming for him, I was like, get him gone. But he's completely come in, great attitude. He's come back and brought it round. And I think even if Ben Chilwell was available, I'd probably still go for Cucurella, because defensively
100%.
he looks 50 million times better defensively. Okay, going up, he's not the best, but he's a left back. Your job is to defend, and that's what Chilwell hasn't done the last couple of seasons. Is defending.
You know what else that means, Kev? It means whoever else plays on that left-hand side, Mudryk or Sterling or whoever it is, they have the freedom to go up because Cucurella can cover them. It's not like Chilwell's bombing down the left-hand side, and then you've got a complete empty space on the left, which is obviously more difficult for Colwell or Thiago Silva, whoever's back there. So actually, it just creates more of a balance in the team.
Of course, and that's the thing. Cucurella doesn't really want to go. He's not an attacking left back. He's a defensive left back. So with a Mudryk, you don't really want him on the back foot. You don't want him chasing back, even though he probably likes to. With Mudryk, you can say on the left hand side, you just stay up there and cause it havoc, because Cucurella is just going to sit anyway. So it's just the perfect match for an attacking left winger. In respective of the starting lineup, what would you go with the starting lineup for tomorrow's game?
Well, mate, I think a lot of it comes back to the injuries as well. So I'm not making excuses, but I just want to bring that up before we go into the lineup. Broha scored against Fulham, and again he's got another problem with his knee, so he's not around. Chalobah still not available. Looks like he's going to go in January. Chilwell still not available. Chukwuemeka still not available. Fofana, Lavia, and Kunku, same thing. So there's players that I would actually want to see in this game. I think Kunku is a key one, and Chukwuemeka as well, just because, as we were talking about with the low block from Brentford, I think those are two players who would be key. But generally, mate, I wouldn't change a lot from what I saw against Arsenal. I think, again, Sanchez needs to start. Cucurella on the left-hand side. Gusto on the right. There's no reason to drop him, even though James is coming back to fitness. If you want to give him minutes against Blackburn. Don't just chuck him in the deep end in a Premier League fixture. Watch him get injured again. Let's just build him up slowly. And for me, I'd rather see Reece James in half the games at full fitness than see him play week in, week out for a few weeks and then have another problem and be out for another 4 months. So that's where I stand on the wing backs. Thiago Silva, he deserves to start. And, I wouldn't change anything. I'd have, is it Disassi played, right?
Yeah,
Disassi
played. Colwell played last.
Oh, God, yeah, how can I forget about Colwell?
Disassi might be back. So for me personally, no offense to Thiago Silva, absolute legend for the club. I'd have Colwell and Disassi personally. And the only reason being is Wissa is an absolute threat with his pace in behind. I think Disassi and Colwell have the legs because I'm sure we're going to want to keep a lot of the ball tomorrow being the home team. So I think with Disassi and Colwell, they give you a bit more pace in behind if we need to get back. So I'd probably start Silva on the bench. That's just my choice. But for your midfield, what would you go with your midfield?
I wouldn't change anything, mate. I wouldn't change anything.
Enzo Gallagher and
Gallagher and Enzo, mate. I think Gallagher. Do you know what it is, mate? We always talk about big games where players have to prove themselves. With Gallagher, I think it's the opposite way around. I think Gallagher needs to prove himself in the smaller games against the smaller teams when we have to break down a low block and do all those things. That's where Gallagher, for me, has been slightly underwhelming.
Absolutely.
Mate, in all the big games, we've watched Gallagher, like Liverpool, unbelievable. Arsenal, one of the best players.
When the teams keep the ball, Gallagher will strive because he's a pressing player. But it's the teams against, like you said, the low blocks like Brentford, they want to hit you in the counter attack and direct. That's when he has to be a bit more technical for me and have a bit more of an eye for a pass. Well, and tomorrow will be a test because we all know Brentford are very, very disciplined. They're going to have a back four and they're going to have a midfield right in front of it. No space in between the lines. So can Gallagher find them little spaces? Can he link the play up? That's what we're looking for in a number 10.
Yeah, for me, I really wish Chukwuemeka was fit for this game because this is where I would rotate Chukwuemeka and Gallagher. I would be playing Chukwuemeka in games.
Not in Nkunku.
Well, I think Nkunku, I haven't even seen him play any minutes in the Prem, so I can't really speak too much about Nkunku. Of course, I want to see him, but for me, he's a slightly different role to Chukwuemeka. I think if everyone was fit, I think we would see something similar to what we saw in pre-season. I think we'd see Chukwuemeka as a 10. I think Nkunku would be a 9 or a false 9, whatever you want to call it. And then I think we'd see Jackson maybe slightly more on the left-hand side, which is interesting because then you talk about Mudryk and you say, well, where's he going to play? And this is where it's an interesting topic because he didn't actually get that many minutes in pre-season. So injuries are obviously annoying, but to an extent, it's nice to be able to see other players being given a chance as well because it's not like Mudryk never deserved minutes in the first place. There's just other players that are better, in the short term. If you're saying right now I need results in this game, I know what I'm going to get. At the beginning of the season, you wouldn't have picked Mudryk, right? Because he's been quite shaky for us, but that also comes down to the management. It's been so difficult for him to get minutes. You see, as soon as the manager puts his arm around him and gives him the time, he's able to start putting in the results and obviously getting some output as well. I mean,
confidence is coming back.
Yeah, man. I mean, we haven't even spoken about Cole Palmer either. I think it's a no-brainer that he starts against Brentford.
For me personally, the only change would be either Jackson or Mudryk. But I think personally, with a team with a low block, he has to go with Jackson. I think Jackson's going to do a bit more work, a bit more of the dirty work. Obviously, we were set up for the counter against Arsenal. It's clear to see. Every time Arsenal was playing their intricate passes in our half, we had a plan to get in behind them as quick as possible, and it worked. I think with Brentford, it's a totally different game. We're going to have the majority of the possession. I think Jackson's going to give you a bit more as that link man in and around the box. So personally, it's a shame to say, but I think Mudryk on the bench, Stone on the left, and obviously Palmer on the right. I think that'll be the front three for me.
Yeah, I mean, I feel for Madueke as well because You know, he made last season out of all of the players we had, and there was a lot of players that weren't given 100%. I always felt like Madueke was, and you know, it's tough because first of all, when you're playing in a team that's not playing well, that can't be fun. But now we are starting to get things together. He's had this issue. We spoke about this a number of episodes ago, but he came on against Arsenal. It just didn't really come off. So I can't see him starting in this game. But it would be nice to see him come off the bench and make an impact. But yeah, for me, I do agree with you with the whole Jackson Mudryk situation. I think Jackson will do a little bit more of the dirty work. But again, I'm not going to criticize Poch if he starts Mudryk. I think he deserves it. But we'll have to wait
Yeah.
and see. What's your score predictions going into this, Kev?
Just to the point what you said, I think we've got some. I think we've got it sus now. I think with this force number 10 with a Cole Palmer, we've got it sus for games where teams are going to keep the ball and we're going to counter attack him. I think that's a good idea to have a Mudryk, Palmer, and Sterling. But tomorrow, the teams that are going to play a low block, it's got to be a Jackson, someone who can hold the ball up, link the play up, and just do the dirty work. But your question, the key question, score prediction: 2-0 Chelsea. Very positive, very confident. I think after Arsenal's game last Saturday, I am feeling very confident. It's got to be the same. It's got to be more of, lads, can we up the tempo? Can we get the crowd going? And can we get an early goal? And if we get the early goal, I think Brentford will probably want to play a bit more, and that will leave more space for them for us to exploit. So 2-0, fair result. If you could ask me goal scorers, I'd say Jackson. And I'd probably say, funny feeling that Sterling's going to get one. So Jackson and Sterling. So make sure you record this and put this back in the memories.
We'll rewind it next episode, Kev. I'll hold you to it, mate.
Yeah.
Just one other thing. This is a little bit off topic, but we've got 5 more minutes. So, what's your whole thoughts on this penalty taking situation? Because I saw it today. Pochettino doesn't actually have a designated penalty taker for Chelsea. So he believes that the feeling on the pitch should determine who takes the penalty. So we saw that Sterling took the ball against Arsenal, and then Palmer ended up taking the penalty. So I don't know if I fully agree with that, but I understand where he's coming from. Where do you stand on that?
I think it's good. I think it's good. Every wants that ball more. It's got, so basically, in some games you could be playing against a hostile environment and you've got a designated penalty taker. They've just missed 2 chances, not feeling it. If you've got someone who wants that ball, grabs the ball, I want to take it, 9 times out of 10 they're going to put it in the back of the net. So I think it's probably a good thing. And for me personally, being doing a bit of coaching in the past, I never really had one as well. I just thought if he wants to step up and take it, he feels confident. Go and do your business. So it probably is a good idea. As well as that, keeps the keepers on the toes as well. So with keepers usually study, analyze health takers, which way they've been. So so before the game, they'll probably analyze if the player's gone to the bottom right 3 times or gone to the top right 3 times, so they know where they're going. If the team ain't got a designated penalty taker, you can't really analyze what they're going to do. So it's just who feels confident. So
That is a good way of looking at it. To be fair,
in a good, it's looking at it in a good way. Yeah, it's probably a positive thing. Yeah. 100%.
Awesome. Thanks for coming on, though, Kev. Always a pleasure, mate. And thanks for everyone that's stayed and watched for the whole video. Always a pleasure. It's a big one, guys. It's a big one. We may not treat it like a big one against Brentford, but I can assure you it's not going to be an easy game. But hopefully I'm wrong. I mean, I think 1-0. Kevin thinks 2-0. We'll see what happens. But if you haven't already subscribed to the channel, please do hit the thumbs up. Put the notifications on as well if you want to get a notification when we do post. And if you agree or disagree with any of the things that me or Kev has said, stick a comment in. Let us know why you think whatever it is that you think. But all the best, guys, and up the Chelsea.